It's finally here. Stanley Cup Final. Game day. Welcome into the Real Kyper and Bourne show. We are live on Sportsnet, Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary, Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet Plus. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, technical directors Derek Brandeo, and Jake the Snake Schultz. As always, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Game 1 on this June 4th.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, Kyper. I'd sing, but no one wants to hear that.
I was referencing June 4th for Game 1, not my birthday.
Me and Borny celebrated by wearing the exact same color
We
shirt.
did.
today.
We know you love lilac.
Yeah.
So we went heavily lilac.
It's true. It's true. 59 years ago, my mom was screaming, "Get this thing out of me!"
What do we want to do for 60 next year? What are we having, a big Sportsnet shindig or what?
Yeah, there has to be a golf trip.
Yeah,
Yeah, there has to be a golf trip.
Live from Cabot next year. And it's going to be in June. We should legitimately have a show somewhere else for your 60th.
I don't think that's
St.
allowed.
Lucia? Where do you want to go?
They won't
Yes,
even. They
that's
won't,
where I want to go.
they won't even get us out of this studio.
We'll just do it ourselves.
No,
Yeah,
we'll just leave.
Yeah, we'll call it in.
You know, we'll plan on it between the conference final and the Stanley Cup final. We'll get 10 days, 2 weeks for sure.
That's a great point.
Actually, you know what we can do is we can have Brandeo and Jake do the show. Like they could be on the mics that day.
Yes. Perfect.
Just to get us through that day.
Perfect.
Awesome stuff. Okay, in a couple of minutes, we'll welcome in Jason Gregor. We've had him on before. He does an amazing job covering the Edmonton Oilers on his own show, 1440 in Edmonton. And he's going to help us tell everyone watching and listening why Connor McDavid is going to finally join the best, the greats in history by simply winning the Stanley Cup. Because that's what he's supposed to do. That's what great players do.
Tonight, he may or may not. I'm going to go ahead and say he will have Connor Brown along with him. Sounds like Brown is going to warm up and is a game-time decision. For the Panthers, A.J. Greer, not going to play.
He was really hurting.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to say he was really effective against
He was,
the
but,
Leafs anyway. But
at the end, he was, I don't know if it was a groin or what, but he could barely come off the ice, and I don't think seven days is getting it done for him.
Jesper Boquist is going to draw in. They use him like 4 or 5 minutes a game when he plays, but honestly, I kind of like the player. He's a
fast.
good skater.
Yeah. So
We're here.
I am really, first of all, cripplingly jealous. Just so jealous of the Oilers and their fans and them having this experience and them having McDavid and just, I hate to say that I am rooting for them, but I am rooting.
But you're growing up. You're maturing.
Yeah, I just can't. Can you picture us having to like do this all again next year? And I went on with Ben and Gunnar this morning, and Ben was arguing with me that the higher stakes would be for them to meet 3 straight years and have Connor not win something. But
What is he, a Buffalo Bill?
yeah, I just
Catching a stray.
you can't to go to 2 straight and not win
Well,
one is
it's
horrifying feeling if you're an Oiler
It's
fan.
an incredibly different feel because there is just no sense of accomplishment going to a Stanley Cup final like there was last year for them. And it was just very much business that there was zero celebration. It was just like the picture of Leon grabbing the conference trophy and just carrying it to the dressing room and
Like he's carrying a bucket.
get in a
mop
shower,
bucket.
get a shower, get on the plane, and let's go, because this will even suck more than it did last year if we don't find a way to win.
Now, can you say that this is actually a more impressive Cup final run for them? Not just what they've done to their opponents, but like from last year, they lost Holloway and Broberg and Fogle and McLeod and guys who mattered for them. They added guys like Arvidsson and Skinner they don't really use. It's a lot of the same guys. It might be a worse team than last year's, my point.
Sure.
Still got Skinner or whatever, and they still just plowed through everyone on their way. I think it's an
Let
impressive
me ask
run.
you something, though.
Okay.
If there's a chance that they do lose this series, are you or anyone else going to go, yeah, but they lost
But it was
so-and-so and they lost so-and-so?
No. I'm going to be terribly critical, which I think Oilers fans would say, yeah, we're pretty upset that we don't have a couple of those guys or some better replacements. But in fairness, Wallman and Klingberg been huge for them.
Huge.
So they did. It's not like they made no ads.
Frederick's had some moments in the playoffs where he's been decent too. So anyways.
Some wins, some losses.
Yeah.
Are we ready for Jason?
He is there.
We are.
Jason Gregor, host of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 in Edmonton, joins us now. Jace, thanks for doing this again. You are our man here as we go into Game 1, but just give us a sense of what the week's been like, on and off the ice and the build-up up until Game 1.
Honestly, I think it's like the calmest one that I can recall covering. The Oilers are very calm. They were here last year. I think it's also just their journey to the Cup Final. Like, they spanked Vegas, they spanked Dallas. They had almost a week off in between each series. Like, they're very rested. Obviously, the Zach Hyman injury is out with a dislocated wrist and tore some tendons in his hand, so he might not be ready for the start of next season. But other than that, like, they're really healthy. Ekholm, they got back in Game 5. McDavid, Draisaitl, who were banged up last year. Darnell Nurse only played 15 minutes a night last year. He's fully healthy. Kane barely played. He's fully healthy. So, they seem like a team that is very, very much comfortable being in this situation because they were here last year, but also very driven, man. Like, they got lots of guys who have been around a long time who haven't won. Like, Corey Perry's won a cup, but it's been 18 years since he won a cup. Right, and he's still playing. And he's got 7 goals, and you got Henrique and Kane and Nugent Hopkins and Ekholm who have played 1,000 games and don't have a cup. Like, they've got a lot of experienced guys who I think don't want to waste this opportunity.
So how is we were just having the chat. I was saying that I feel like this was more impressive return to the Cup Final. A, they spanked everyone. And B, I think that it maybe isn't quite as strong a roster as last year. And maybe you can correct me on that. But it feels like this has been more impressive accomplishment because I feel like, if anything, equal or lesser roster, and they've made short work of everyone.
Well, I would agree with you that it's been impressive in the sense of how they've dominated, but I actually think the roster's way better.
You do.
Their defense core, Klingberg and Wallman move the puck infinitely better than they did last year. Darnell Nurse is healthy. That makes a difference. Like Leon Draisaitl, he had, people forget this, Draisaitl had 24 points in the first 2 series last year. 24. He was leading the NHL in scoring. Then he only had 7 points in the final 2 series because he got banged up and just didn't have a goal. He wasn't himself. He's fully healthy. I really think that Frederick. I know people will look and say, he hasn't added a lot, but he's outscoring He outscores him 5-on-5. He doesn't make a lot of defensive mistakes. Janmark is, in Edmonton, they call him playoff Janmark. He elevates his game. Like, the guy's got 7 points already in Stanley Cup Finals. Like, that guy knows how to score and produce when he wants to. So I actually think their team is better overall from the back end. And when I say better, because they're built, Podkolzin, Perry, Hyman when he was in, Kane, Frederick, like, they're a more physical forward group. And I was looking actually at NHL Edge. Their speed overall is actually slightly ahead of last year, even without McLeod and Fogle.
Jason, when we look at the Oilers, for sure that we focus on the depth that's around a guy like Connor McDavid and, to a lesser degree, Leon Draisaitl. But, I can't walk out the door. I can't go to the golf course without people telling me all week that there's just no way Connor McDavid's going to lose the Stanley Cup 2 years in a row. And is that really kind of the sense that's pushed right out west from here, in terms of when it's all said and done, that Connor is the guy that's going to make sure that doesn't happen?
Well, I think so, but look, you were on teams. One guy doesn't win, right? Like, the great teams have usually multiple Hall of Famers. right? Like multiple Hall of Fame players. And so when Gretzky finally won after losing, he had Messier, who won the Conn Smythe, and Crosby, when he lost his first year, the next year he won, and Malkin won the Conn Smythe. So as good as they were, and as good as I think McDavid's going to be, you have Leon Draisaitl. They've got some other guys. Their defense core with Evan Bouchard's putting up ridiculous numbers, and now Ekholm's back. So their team is good. But yes, could McDavid win a game by himself in the series and be the difference? Yes. I think Connor McDavid, he puts more pressure on himself than anyone. And I think if he wins, that I think next year or the year after, he might even be better, because that weight of having a Stanley Cup, and it's a big weight to carry for guys. It's harder to win cups now than it was when there was 21 teams, right? You just do the math. It's harder. So I think that for him, they lost last year in Game 7. Everybody saw his speech after Game 2. You saw that. I talked to him. I was there. The tears after losing Game 7. It's real. And I think this team recognizes that they don't want to waste this opportunity, because there's no guarantee you'll get back. I know Florida's made it 3 in a row and Tampa's made it 3 in a row, so it's definitely doable, but you don't want to roll that dice that you can get back here. And I think get back here and be as healthy and rested as they are right now.
Jason, is there anything in this series that you have your eye on that you feel like hinges on the outcome? Any particular matchup between what Florida does and Edmonton does that you feel like this has to go right for the Oilers?
Well, I want to get your guys' opinion on this, because I've been looking at this series. I watched a lot of film for what Florida does. And Florida doesn't change. Everybody knows what they're going to do. Yeah. They forecheck very aggressively, and they forecheck in sync. But they really dominated Carolina on the boards and on the wall. And so I look at Edmonton. They've got a good breakout team. But I wonder, as a systemic kind of technical thing, are we going to see the right wingers? I want you guys' opinion on this. The right wingers play left wing in the D zone, because now you're going to get that puck on rims on your forehand guys and be able to protect the puck from the defenseman, because they love to pinch down on guys. I don't know if you'll do it all the time, but I think we're going to see that at certain times. Mm-hmm. And Chris Knoblauch always thinks outside the box. So that's my little small thing to watch for. But obviously it's going to be, can the Oilers, they'll handle the forecheck, but can they force it into odd man rushes? Because if the Oilers get enough odd man rushes, they'll burn you.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how quickly the Oilers can get the pucks off the wall and into the middle of the ice, where at times the Panthers defense is vulnerable. Like, they do give up breakaways, and we had Valley verify that for us earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Well, and they do, and because of that pinch that you're talking about, watching that Leaf series, that was the series, was can you have your wingers come back low enough and receive the first pass low enough that it puts those pinching D in a tough spot?
Where they're caught.
Because the Leafs tried to flip the puck out into the neutral zone for the whole series, and Florida just went back, got it, and as what do they call it, 3/4 iced them, and that doesn't work. The flip out's not the answer. So
no, it's not the answer. And like, you watch, I can't remember what game it was when Marchand scored like 15 seconds into the second period. And if you go back and watch that play, when they dump it in, Morgan Riley goes back and he has it. But he elects to go behind the net on his backhand, puts it up on the wall. It's turned over. 3 seconds later, it's in the net. Had he spun on his forehand, he would have had it wide open on that side. I really think there's going to be an onus, even though it's NHL guys and they can all handle the puck. They all handle it better, maybe except Draisaitl, on their forehand than they do on their backhand. And so you can go back to pucks, because the Oilers against Dallas and Vegas, they really use the rims a lot. They would come in the corner, those two teams would forecheck, and they would just rim it hard around the boards, and Edmonton went out all the time. But Florida is much better at limiting that and then being pressure on that opposite side boards winger. And I think Edmonton's going to have to do a better job. And I don't think their defensemen can just blindly fire it up the boards on the rims as much as they did the last series. It worked because of how Dallas and Vegas forecheck, but Florida's a completely different beast.
You're watching and listening to Jason Gregor, host of the Jason Gregor Show on Sportsnet 1440 in Edmonton. So, Jason, last year, I think Connor McDavid saw a lot of Forsling this series. There's a sense that maybe it might be Nico Mikkola and Seth Jones against him. How do you see the matchup on shutting down Connor?
Well, great question, Nick, because I actually looked that up beforehand. I've been writing like 3 articles today. I need a beer. But I was looking at the numbers. And so last year in the Cup Final, McDavid, when he was on the ice against Ekblad outscored him 5-0. When he was out against Forsling, it was 4-2. But both of those guys together, that was the pair the Oilers actually had the most success against. Ekblad and Forsling were each out against for 8 goals against 5-on-5 in that series. So Jones and Mikkola, it's interesting to me because they're a lot bigger and they're a lot longer, right? And so you naturally just take up a little bit more space. Forsling, as great of a skater he is, McDavid's speed against Ekblad, I don't love that matchup for Florida. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think we'll probably see it 50-50 a little bit here. Like Chris Knobloch, the one thing he's not scared of McDavid on any matchup. He's like, you want to put out your best defenseman, your best forward, fine. Like, it's Connor McDavid. We can handle it, right? But how they do it at certain times, because I think as rested as McDavid and Draisaitl are heading into this series, the importance of game 1 tonight, guys, I won't be surprised if we see them play their most minutes that we've had in a playoff game this year, excluding overtime, because they want the win. Game 1 is massive for teams. The Oilers as an organization have never lost it. You look in the salary cap era, when you go up 1-0, a lot of times you win. And, I think Vancouver's the only Canadian team since the Habs won in 93 who actually won game 1 of the Cup Final, but then ended up losing the series. All the other ones, Calgary, Edmonton, Ottawa, pretty sure even Edmonton again in 24, they all lost. Montreal in 21. So you got to get up early in the Stanley Cup Final. It's rare to come from behind.
Yeah, teams with home ice who win first are 52-10, .839 winning percentage.
There you go.
It's a pretty key one, I would say. So the Hyman absence you mentioned is a concern. Who does that fall on to help pick up some slack?
Well, Corey Perry is tied for the team lead in goals. Are you kidding me? The ageless wonder here. So he'll play some of Hyman's minutes, but he can't play all those minutes at his age. Chris Knobloch knows that. So I think Hyman will do it. Evander Kane, to me, is the guy, even though he's not on Hyman's line, he's playing with Leon Draisaitl and Kasperi Kapanen. And Kapanen, ever since he came in that game against Vegas in Game 4, he's been really good. He's got 3 goals. He's on the ice protecting leads, guys, in the final few minutes of a 1-goal game in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So the coach trusts him. He likes playing with Draisaitl, and Kane, to me, is a guy who's got to show up here and score some big goals for Edmonton. Plus, there's another matchup. If it's Kane and Draisaitl against Bennett and Tkachuk, guys, because that means Tkachuk and Kane, Tkachuk's playing right wing, him and Kane line up against each other on the faceoffs, and I was selfishly saying, could we not see some Four Nations opening stuff tonight between the... it would be awesome. There's guys, Kane can do it, Bennett can do it, Tkachuk can do it, Frederick. They got guys to do it. This is a rivalry. Maybe I'm delusional and dreaming.
No, you're not. You're on the right path.
It would be awesome.
You're totally on the right path. The one guy on Florida, if you think about true game breakers, it's easy to go to 97 and 29 on the Oilers. But if you go to game breakers on Florida, you kind of have to think a little bit about Sam Reinhart, and the one that always, to me, slides underneath the radar is Barkov. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of Barkov versus McDavid. In the latter part of last season, he shut him down, I guess, in the 2 games that mattered the most at the end of the series. But, McDavid also found a way to end up with 8 points, I think, in 2 of those games. So how do you see Barkov in this series, Jason?
Well, it's a 3-time Hart Trophy winner versus a 3-time Selke Trophy winner. It's a great matchup, right? Barkov he's an unbelievable player, big, rangy, lean, like that. And the other thing, the funny thing is on that line, as good as Ryan, Evan Rodrick, he killed the Oilers last year in the Cup Final, right? He led them. He had 4 goals. He was awesome. So I look at, as much as it's Barkov, there's Nugent Hopkins and then Reinhart and, McDavid versus Barkov. I think, obviously, McDavid's speed is where it can beat him, but Barkov's so smart positionally. And I think where McDavid can have success against them is if they get a little too aggressive on the forecheck and you can counterattack. Because in the zone, when Barkov and Reinhart are set up, it is rare that they make a mistake on a psycho play that's not sure. Sometimes the other team will make a good play. But I was talking to some people in Florida. They're like, Barkov and Reinhart, when the opposition is cycling, sometimes they might beat you because they make a great play, but rarely do those guys make mistakes. Now, the advantage is McDavid can beat anybody because of his quickness. If he can cut underneath, that's his move. He likes to come up to the hash marks and then a quick spin move and cut underneath guys. And I've seen him beat some of the best skaters in the world. So if he can get off of Barkov there, he might have success.
This is probably a dumb question because I know a couple of the superstars there, but I'm trying to make sense of how the Oilers offense always makes good defenses look bad. Like we watched the Leafs in playoffs here for the first hour of our show, and for years they come up against, well, you can't expect them to score against Philip Deneau. You can't expect them to score against Alexander Barkov. And for some reason, no matter who the Oilers play, they just put them in a shredder. Is it just the superstars, or is there something more we're missing?
Well, obviously the superstars help. Like, look at those guys. They're third and fourth all time in points per game in the playoffs. Like Leon Draisaitl's average was 1.46 coming in. He's at 1.56. He's actually better. So obviously they play a big role, and they usually face the other team. But what the Oilers do well with their depth guys is they, especially now with their defense, they really can beat you off the rush. Like Connor Brown can really skate. Like he's got 5 goals. Matthias Janmark might be the most underrated skater in the game, guys. Like watch him. He is a fantastic skater up the ice. And so that's where Edmonton, I found, has success on teams, because as the playoffs go along, you got to be able to skate and move. Edmonton doesn't necessarily, grind you down a ton in the offensive zone. They can cycle, right? Like especially Draisaitl. Draisaitl's like a superstar who's really good at cycling. He reminds me of Forsberg, Nick, where Forsberg and Jágr, they look over their shoulder. Oh, are you getting close to me? Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Now I want you. Now I feel you, and I'm going to go around you.
Here's my big ass. Here, eat this.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Draisaitl does. So they can beat you in different ways. And then the other wild card is, with their defense now, they move the puck so much better. Like Stan Bowman, I talked to him the other day, and he said 2 months into the season, he felt we don't generate enough outside of Bouchard and Ekholm to our forwards. And that's why I went and got Wallman and Klingberg. And then Kulak and Nurse as a pair. That gives them every pairing with guys who can either transport the puck or move the puck. And that really helps. Any forwards will tell you, if I get the puck more, my chances of scoring increase.
Hey, with the time off between the conference final and game one, how did Knobloch do on the quote machine versus Maurice this week?
Oh, that's a lopsided affair.
That's a tough one. Nick. That's like you and me going in a hair growing competition right now. It might be a little one-sided for you. So you know what, Chris Knobloch, it's funny. He's not the articulate wordsmith of a Paul Maurice, but the thing I really respect about Knobloch, he doesn't BS you. Yeah. Right? Like, I know he said Connor Brown's a game time decision, but that's about as far as he'll go. Yeah. Usually if you ask him about a technical question, he will give you an answer. He's always kind of told people who his starting goalie is. He doesn't worry about those little mind games. And I think Chris he's not going to get to the John Cooper, Paul Maurice. Well, maybe he's only his second year in league, for goodness sake. So maybe in a decade, right? I guess I'd have to go back and think, was Paul Maurice a great speaker when he was 29 and a rookie head coach? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. You good?
All good.
Jason, really appreciate your time as always. Enjoy game one, and let's catch up again at some point during this series, okay?
You betcha, boys. Anytime. Love coming on. Enjoy the games.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Jason Gregor.
Oilers, man.
Connor McDavid is tied with Joe Pavelski for the 5th most playoff points by a player without a Stanley Cup before winning their first. Or before winning their first. Pavelski never won. That list is topped by Ray Bourque, Adam Oates, Dennis Savard, and Brian Popp. So there you go. 143 games. 143 points in 90 games played for McDavid.
I don't want an NHL with a Connor McDavid over 2 in a Stanley Cup final. I don't want that NHL.
I don't want an NHL in 2030 with a Connor McDavid who's Joe Thornton on some team trying to hang on and get a cup. That's 2035, whatever.
It's a little early to.
I know. I'm just saying, let's just get her done here so we can check that box and
that's exactly because it's going against every take I've ever had really in my life about wanting the only way I want the cup back in Canada's down Yonge Street and all these things that I've said. But I know for me at least, and maybe Leaf fans hearing this are screaming, the Four Nations thing and seeing him play for Canada and having him have that huge moment for us, shooting in the net there to beat the States, and just how proud he was to do that. It was very similar to the relationship I had with Sid before the 2010 Olympics, where I wasn't the hugest Sid guy. There's all that crybaby stuff and a A lot of parallels with the grumpiness.
I'm sorry, you're the crybaby, or
No.
Sid was the crybaby?
Sid earlier, I'm a huge crybaby. But Sid earlier in his career, as you guys would remember, like he was, that was one of the big knocks against him. They were crying to the refs.
Just like Wayne, just like Mario.
That's what
those
I mean.
guys get abused.
I
Yes,
get it.
I know.
So having Sid have that moment in 2010 completely made him one of my favorite players of all time immediately. And I feel the same way about Connor now. And it's just like, it sucks so bad that the cost
Is
of
the
this
Oilers winning a cup as a Leaf fan for you?
the stinky Oilers fans getting to rub it in my face.
Yeah.
But it's just the price you got to pay.
Just for a week.
No, a week? Buddy, I'm going to play in a golf tournament in Alberta in July. It's not going to be good.
I'll cut them off after a week. You get a week to rub it in Sammy's face, and after that, he's off limits.
The last few couple stats. The last 3 teams to return to the Cup Final after losing the first time did win. That being the 2024 Panthers, 2009 Penguins, and the 84 Oilers.
Yep.
Highest home power play percentage in a single postseason. The Islanders in 81, 42%. Dallas Stars this year, 43%. Oilers are at 56.3% at home on the power play this year.
You mentioned those 3 teams.
That's just gross.
That's cheating.
You mentioned not the Panthers, but the 2 teams before that, the Oilers and the Penguins.
Yep.
Gretzky, Sid, McDavid.
Wow.
It's just,
It's all falling into place.
it's extremely serendipitous.
Yeah,
Is that
great
what
word.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
We're talking serendipity here, boys. It's happening. If it doesn't happen, it goes against everything that you would really not believe in, but just prior history. I know you guys don't care about that stuff, but to me, like, it's telling.
So Stu Skinner, prior to the Pickard getting the net, was 0-3 with an .817 save percentage. Last 7 starts, 6-1, 141 goals against, .944 save percentage with 3 shutouts. He's been very, very good. Okay, I'm done.
Anything else in the final, Kip?
No. Let's go to game time.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah, sure. I'm all good. It's game time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app, play test odds, and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. All right, so we can finally get more into the game tonight because it's now happening. We have the line has not moved much for the game tonight. The Florida Panthers are plus money tonight, plus 100. The Edmonton Oilers are minus 120. That number that you read out to Gregor about, what was the number for
52 and 10.
52 and 10.
If you're at home and win the first game.
It really feels like a massive spot for the Oilers, especially at home. So minus 120 there. I got to tell you, you could talk me into minus a goal and a half tonight for the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh, you think they're?
I think I just keep going back to that they're you can't teach desperation. And in the back of the Panthers' mind, they know that they have one. I know it's the final. I know they've gotten all the way there. But this is desperate McDavid.
A complete scene setter tonight for the
expect.
next 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
Well, so one thing I noticed talking to Gregor and our own Billy Duke upstairs or whatever, people from Edmonton don't say the D, huh? Edmonton? You notice the Edmonton thing?
No.
Yeah.
Edmonton.
Yeah, they're from, you know, one thing about Edmonton. Anyway, okay, just me.
Okay.
Hit me up, Oilers fans. Is that a thing in Edmonton?
Or you just drop the D.
Where you just say it quickly, it's just Edmonton.
Toronto.
Toronto.
I don't think you get the T at the end.
Not supposed
of
to.
Toronto.
By the way, great story. My wife told her Long Island, New York friends, you don't really say the T. And one of her friends goes, Toronto?
So that's really funny.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of different specials on here. Obviously, they got a ton of stuff on Bet365. But one of them is for Connor McDavid to have one shot on goal in every game of this series is minus 650. That's obviously a huge number to lay juice with. 2 shots on goal in every game of the series is plus 100. And 3 shots on goal in every game of the series is
That's
plus
so
500.
hard.
Yeah, 2 in every game, though. I do
I mean,
that.
that's
I do
absolutely.
that for sure. He's on every power play. He's the dude. He's going to play 20 minutes. I mean, you're rolling the dice as you get hurt or something. But.
And give me, as the last one here, a little of a prop. Give me the team that wins game 1 to win the series at minus 210. And it's going to be the Oilers tonight, and they're going to win the series.
All right.
So, that was game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app, play test odds, and find out why it's ever ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
All right, we'll take a quick break.
Before we go to break,
What do you got?
Friday, we're doing the Canada line again.
Yes.
So the rest of Canada, I was extremely disappointed in you. It was all Leaf fans that called in, except Hunter in Toronto, who was talking about the Oilers, but he's from Toronto. So call in if you're listening to this, 416-413-4141, and we'll play some more Canadian calls as opposed to Leaf calls on Friday. Because it was just all Leafs.
All Oilers
Yes.
stuff.
What are you kidding?
All
You're
Cup
going to
final.
sneak in a few.
No.
You'll sneak in
We'll
a few
see.
Leafs.
We'll see. But
Pick up the phone and stop dialing.
I generally want more Canadian calls. So,
Okay.
So there we go. So just remind you. There you go.
Perfect. All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll pick up on game one. I want to, I'm giving you an assignment during commercial break, okay? You're going to both give me like strong points, reasons why Edmonton will win the Stanley Cup or lose the Stanley Cup, and that includes
want for both?
Florida Panthers as well.
Okay. All right, I'm on it.
All right, and some NHL news and notes, including a new head coach in Pittsburgh and who resigned in Colorado? Brock Nelson. All right, plenty more still to chew on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Welcome back to the program. As a reminder, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee.
I would rarely do this, but I have a commute story from today.
Did you lose anything on the bus?
I did not, but I usually ride my bike, but it was a little too hot today, and I just didn't feel like getting changed here, and the whole sweat situation, it's just a lot. So I decided to take the subway like I do a lot of the time, and I was sitting there, and this woman sat down beside me, and she reached into her, like, I guess, tote bag or whatever, and pulled out, like, a container, like a to-go container. Like, And she opened it up, and it was a steaming hot pile of asparagus. like freshly cooked,
Just
like,
a heap of
like
asparagus.
condensate. When she took it off, condensation
And
came
like nothing, just asparagus?
and I was me to you. She just started mucking it, just hammering it away, and like the whole subway car immediately reeked of asparagus. And I looked at her, and I was like, "What the hell?" Listen, it's asparagus season in Ontario right now. I have asparagus at least twice a week. It's popping right now. I get it. But Subway asparagus is one of the most insane things I've ever witnessed. Listen, I ride the subway a lot. I see a lot of crazy things. Insane move.
Just a grip of asparagus.
Just like, whoa. It's like, whoa, asparagus. Give me a sprig, lady. I gotta have one.
It won't be a problem until your pee smells.
Yeah, that's it. That's fine. As long as they're just. Anyways.
She wasn't just holding it in her hand. At least she had a to-go container.
Oh, God. So there you go. So Tales from the Subway.
Well, you didn't lose a jersey on it.
No, I didn't. I go past Dufferin. Every time I go past Dufferin and blow it on my bike, I think about the old Don Waddell jerseys.
That's so good.
Thanks,
All right,
DTC.
JB.
Brock Nelson.
Let's start with you. Okay.
Love
A reason why the Oilers will win, or a reason why the Oilers will lose.
Can I be really dull on this? I mean, the reason why is they have the best players in the series. And the reason why they'll lose is that their goalie is less than the other goalie. Am I underthinking it?
When you speak of just two game
guys.
breakers.
Two guys. If you put everyone in a pile and said, who are the best two players? The Oilers got them.
I think they're going to get in behind the Panthers a lot.
Yeah.
And we saw the Leafs do it, and the Leafs aren't nearly as fast as the Oilers forwards are. I really do think that there's going to be some breakaways, there's going to be some odd mans, and they're going to take advantage of that. And that's
Kapanen's
gonna be
been
the
a
difference.
good fit for them because he, like, replacing, Holloway, whatever, McLeod, he can go.
Yeah. So
Is it as simple as the Oilers lose because of Skinner as it is for JB?
I hate to do it, but I really don't feel like that's their biggest weak spot, right? Like we talked with Gregor about their D-core, 3 good pairs, their forward lines are going. If he turns into a pumpkin, they probably are going to have some issues. I guess he could pull the Pickard lever if it gets bad, but I think it really does come down to Skinner, and that's bad to say. It's sorry to him, but it really does feel like it comes down to him. No?
And where are you at?
I'm with you in terms of the desperation out of the two best game breakers. And McDavid and Leon have that ability to single-handedly make a great play. And I don't think Florida has that guy.
Right.
As much as we saw Barkov made an incredible play behind the net on on one of the big goals in the clinching game against Carolina.
Wearing Orlov like a backpack.
Yes, wearing him like a backpack and then feeding it to Carter Verhaeghe. Those are far and few for the Florida Panthers.
They're mostly bounce it in there and hope it goes through.
Yeah, and those are moments. Like Game 5, okay? Dallas scores within 1, and then Connor goes on that breakaway, and it's like, oh, you know what? You're eliminated.
I do think
it's over now.
Watching Leafs Panthers, and the Leafs come out and they win the first 2 games, and Florida along the way hammers their D and hammers their D and hammers their D. Leafs win. Game 3, hammer their D. All of a sudden, Game 5, their Leafs D didn't look so great. I am curious. We got lots of praise for Wallman and Klingberg. Mm-hmm. Is Klingberg that reliable in Game 5 after he's been, under that same pressure?
When Sam Bennett and Gadjevich and these big forwards
like
are
every
just
time you go
on,
back, you need to find a relief valve quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me a reason why Florida will win the Stanley Cup for the second consecutive year.
I think that forecheck. Yeah. To me, it's like their ability to get on teams and make them, and that includes the D down the wall. Yeah. Like you just feel in your own end, like we better go back and get that puck or else whatever, or else we're screwed. And then that gives bad gaps and it's the forecheck.
I don't want to say this and put it in the air, but their ability to injure people too is a factor.
That's not nothing.
I mean,
true.
They take guys out.
Yeah, they're very good at it.
Yeah. So they play dirty, and Sam Bennett's going to be going hard to the front of the net, hoping to get Kelvin Pickard involved in the series. Elbowed Stolars, elbowed Anderson, like he's looking to do damage. Mm-hmm. So that's a factor for me.
And
good one.
So if I go outside of your game breakers in Draisaitl and McDavid, then the rest of the lineup for Florida is
that third
better at being a support cast than the Oilers. So I think one of the reasons why Edmonton could lose this series is because, I don't know, it's midnight and Cinderella is running out of time here. So Corey Perry, Connor Brown, even put Colson and Yarnmark, who've come up with big plays. Does the magic wear off on those guys?
Yeah.
Finally in the playoffs, and then you go on the other side of Florida, and they're still kind of proven guys with Lundell and Marchand coming out of nowhere now is a top 9 guy and playing like he's a huge part. So who outlasts who?
The other part of that is Seth Jones has been, you can say he's been their best D-man in the playoffs. He's been unbelievable for them. Is he this good? Clock could strike midnight on him too.
If you went back, I think that one small run where Columbus was pretty good. I think 2019, Seth Jones was off the charts, top 10 D in the league. Mm-hmm. He was that good. And it was like
took 5 years off.
And it was like he's going to stay the rest of his career there, and they're going to have to find a way to get rid of Werenski. And obviously, it never happened, and it went downhill since he's been traded. But he was in 2019 one of the best defensemen in the league.
Yeah, he's hit the highs before. So we'll see. Is he this guy? Maybe he is.
And
in 2019 is the year I think that the year they beat Tampa in the first round and swept them?
Yes.
Is that right? Right?
Yep.
Correct.
The glory year, as remember Portsline came on?
Yeah.
They call it the glory year.
It's like, aw.
Yeah. And then, how good's goalie Bob going to be?
Yeah. He can have bad moments. He actually let in a few muffins in the last round, too. So, lot to be decided.
Excited.
Okay, talk to me about Brock Nelson in Colorado. I thought they were doing Mitch Marner. Can they do both?
I think 7.5 2 years ago would have been a huge number, but with the cap going up and a 3-year commitment, which isn't horrible. And let's face it, you gave up some serious assets to get him. There was a lot of pressure on Colorado to come up with 7.5. That was always the number.
McKinnon, Nelson, Coyle's pretty good. 1, 2, 3 down the middle. Natchez, Nichushkin. Like, is Landeskog a guy now again? Like, they could be Lehkonen, Duran.
I think you don't know about Landeskog.
Either way, it doesn't seem like that was like one of the Marner places, and it doesn't seem like that's an option now.
I think you pointed something there, Kyper, that's going to be really interesting, is like the sticker shock now that the cap's going up. Like when I saw that number, I mean, kind of a shocking number. Didn't you think 7.5 for Brock Nelson?
Yes. I was like, I don't want that at all.
It's not.
That's what I mean. With the cap going up and the percentages.
Well, but hold on.
It's significant.
Was it a $5 million contract in years past?
No, I mean, it's probably still 6 and something. You know, like it's real money they gave him.
It is, but it also, like, look at the escalation in 3 years, JB.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And it'll still be 7.5, right?
Yes,
it's an artificial cap right now that should be it should be $102 million.
When the season starts next year, Brock Nelson's going to be 34 years old. He just, say what you want about Nelson, and I think he's a fine player, but in playoffs he had no goals.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not scared anymore about 34, 35-year-olds. I think between Corey Perry and
26 goals this year. I don't know.
Between Corey Perry and a few of the other guys at 40, Brad Marchand's, not 40, but he's closing in. They're playing at high levels.
But these are the elite guys. The best guys can do it for
Brock
a long
Nelson
time.
Has been pretty elite.
He's been pretty good.
He had 3 straight 30-goal years before this year.
Yeah, that's some serious talent.
Yeah, he's shooting it in the net. But I think, you look at the
56.7.5 million. It's not going to get better. I'm just saying, I don't know if that's Colorado's answer. That's all.
But now you look at that free agent class that everyone was already talking about being thin. Nelson gone. Gord got signed. I mean, Gord's not that big, but he's a name that was on that list that teams would be trying to. It's getting thin and hurt. Like the top end of these guys must love seeing these names go off the boards early. Like just drive up the price for July 1.
Absolutely.
I'll pull a Sammy McKee here and throw a little Leaf talk in this.
Yes.
But it's almost a foregone conclusion that John Tavares wants to stay, and it's just a matter of like how much of a discount, right?
Yep.
All the talk around here is about John Tavares as a discount. But if he wasn't from Toronto and he'd be open to play anywhere, like he's coming off 38 goals.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like you just gave Nelson at 26.
Nelson at 26. What do you think, John Tavares, on, hey, everybody, highest bid wins. Let's go.
Top 10 face-off guy in the NHL, scores 38 goals. He's hard on the puck. He's got more responsible. Like he's been a captain in the league. 34 years old. Like someone might give him $8 or $9 million. Not the Leafs.
No, definitely not the Leafs.
But someone might if you said, how am I not better than Brock Nelson?
At 3 years, I think on an open market, John Tavares could hit Brock Nelson's 7.5 all day long.
Sure.
For 3 years.
What are you getting more from Brock Nelson? He's not fighting anyone.
But I saw today, Fuchs and Marchese, that Elliott was saying that they were talking about the lower AAV long contract for Tavares. Like what they did with Tanev and it's just
cap's going up. Just
are we
pay him what he's worth and not.
Are we sure?
With this for 5? No.
Are we sure
I'm
here?
sure it's not.
Well, it's a deeper conversation.
Well,
I mean, we got the time. We got 3 minutes here. Why not?
It's a deeper conversation because it's not strictly about having the money, so just spend it. It's about, is there a fit for him? Is he still producing 60, 70-point seasons? Is he automatically on your first power play still? Is he a second-line centerman in the playoffs, or is he not?
I've done this 100 times.
Right?
There's arsenic in the cake, but it's a cheap cake. It's like, I don't care. I don't want that cake.
Poison
The cake is bad. Quit serving it to me.
It's like the cake in Matilda that's like full of like blood.
I don't know that reference.
No,
but I'll trust
you never seen Matilda?
No, I haven't.
Oh wow!
I'm surprised you have.
Ah, a kid once, you know. It actually really terrified me. It's like this, like kind of racket eating like a bloody cake. It was bad. Anyways, continue.
I was born 40.
I've got Bo Byram on with the thought of Owen Power in Buffalo and Darlene. Darlene's not going anywhere. I believe that Power's not going anywhere. You think this guy's
Riley for Byram
set to be a top defenseman?
How do you like that for the Leafs?
All day long.
Yeah. How do you like it for Buffalo?
No
7.5
good.
Morgan
No
Riley,
good.
not
No,
into-
Morgan's
No.
he's too old for them.
You
What?
can have Nick Robertson too.
Buffalo needs to be good at one point.
I gotta tell you, love Buffalo. Dying for them to be good.
It's time to be good, boys. Like you have to be good here, but
And
it
you're
just
hearing,
feels like there's
Turka might
yeah.
want
it's-
out.
They just have no.
You have to have guys for guys to want to be there, and so that's the problem. When you,
Well, they don't have palm trees,
how do you get?
but the Bills have Josh Allen, so people want to come there.
That's all it is.
But that's literally what the
Can
general
they be
manager
the
said.
Ottawa Senators next year
Ugh.
and just get
How?
in a first round?
Not a chance.
But this like, I mean, give the Sens credit. In years past, they showed flashes of pushing towards something. It's just like
boys, Buffalo could finish near the bottom next year. The top line right now is Benson and Kulich
yeah, they're not.
with Thompson.
Yeah,
Paterka, McLeod, Quinn, Zucker, Krebs, Tuck, Rosen, Ostland, Lafferty. What are we doing here?
It's bad. It's really bad.
At least the D's good. Darlene,
Yeah.
Samuelson, Byron, Clifton. I think I'm missing one there. No Power. Yeah, like their D's good.
I do love Darlene, but who wasn't there a rumor about him being sour too?
He was like, I didn't ask out.
Is
Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
Like,
there was a whole thing.
Didn't you?
Uko Pekka the guy?
Rebecca Lukanen?
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Is he the guy?
No, the other guy's supposed to be the guy, right? Devin Levi. He was a Team Canada World Junior goalie. He's got some pedigree.
Uko Pekka's the type of guy that
Ukko-Pekka.
ends up on another team and then becomes a star.
Yeah.
Is he buddies with Nico Mikkola?
Nico Mikkola and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
I love those names.
Anytime you have multiple guys who you're waiting to be the guy, you have no guys.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, there's so many candidates for the next Sabres guy on the current Sabres roster. Like to
the
go
one to go break
to
your
go
heart.
somewhere else and be
Yeah.
great. Like, I mean, Dylan Cousins already went to Ottawa. Wasn't great in the playoffs for them, but like had some flashes.
Yeah.
I mean, if Darlene
He needs a
went
good
there.
summer, Dylan Cousins.
They've got
He's
the
coming ready to roll.
Buffalo's got the combine going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
Agents and teams are all down there right now, and they're all talking to each other.
How exciting!
They got Kekalainen in there now.
We gotta put a call in.
Kekalainen has Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. he's got. They're collecting names.
You should just do a finish show
So,
for an hour.
so
Is Nico Mikkola finished? Probably.
yeah, for sure he is. But so who does Kevin Adams report to? No,
No,
Yarmo
Jarmo.
reports to Kevin.
correct.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Weird. Buffalo just really needs to get it together here. I'm sick of just having the conversation about them being sad sack every year.
Yeah.
What do we know about Dan Moose?
Muse, I assume.
Muse.
I know
new
that.
head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I know that he didn't really he played some D3 hockey, but he's coached everywhere. He's an assistant for years. He
What do you
coached
think?
at Yale. He's
What do you
the
think?
U.S.
What do you
national. I think it's risky for Kyle
It's
Dubas
risky.
to have another first-time coach as your hire. But I think you're saying that we're rebuilding together, and you say, look, Chris Knobloch, was a first-time head coach. He's back-to-back Cup Finals.
I'm okay
Sheldon
with.
Keefe ended up being a good hire, or at least he's still in
Yeah.
the league.
I'm okay with Kyle thinking outside the box, and
That's why you have
can
Kyle.
only.
He's supposed to do that.
But Kyle, get it right though,
Yeah, he's got
right?
it. He's got it.
I hope you got a Carberry.
Yes.
Yeah, like I've said so many times in this show that you just got to try somebody new.
You don't
So-
get Dubas as your guy to bring in Tortorella.
But that, I mean, I saw that like, Sid, your Dan Muse, going to tell about Sid what to do.
I know.
yeah.
But but you're entrusting it to an outside the box guy.
Oh
You're
boy.
gonna get some outside the box hires.
All right, here we go. Our hour's up, and
Quickly,
once again,
series
we've
pick.
solved nothing.
Series pick.
I want the Oilers to win, but I picked Florida in September. I picked them before the playoffs. I'm not bailing on them now, so I got the Panthers in 7.
Oilers and 6.
Oilers in 5.
There you go. All right. It all starts tonight on Sportsnet, Florida and Edmonton, Game 1. Enjoy it. Thanks for listening.